Well, hello, everybody. We welcome you again to another segment of the House of Power. I got my House of Power T-shirt. Come on, somebody, House of Power. Thank you, Minister Michelle Davis, for making it possible. We all having T-shirts of different colors, and so my color is purple, which is royal. I'm a king, so kings are royalty, amen. So I'm glad you were able to sign on to this segment tonight. I thank my son for encouraging me and continue to bless me and send me other stuff on YouTube to kind of let me look back on my life and kind of just say, wow, some of the things he's venturing into, I already have ventured in and have complete knowledge of the witchcraft area, even in hip hop and reggae music, for years, because I've been around a lot of violence. A lot of the cats I ran with, they were straight up killers. So people would assume when they see me, they just, okay, he may be a pushover or whatever the case may be. But sometimes you look back in life and you say, well, I'm glad you didn't try this 30 years ago or you'll be in the grave, because if I didn't do something to you just by me snapping my finger, other cats that I know that love me. And it's so sad that in the church you don't have that kind of loyalty, but in the world you could find that loyalty where you could have people that really truly have your back in the streets, but the more the snakes are in the church. But tonight I want to speak about, I think my son sent me something about this thing called a guard ring. And rings are important because I believe the football players, the NBA, NFL, all the champions that play, the teams that win, they get rings. So rings, they represent some kind of power. And I remember this place on 165th Street on Jamaica Avenue, where the Coliseum at. This place, a lot of people used to go there, and when they have court cases, they will go into this little shop, and when you go in, you'll find that they have all kind of candles, all kind of little spell stuff that you could have somebody to love you, spray stuff that you could win court cases, spell stuff that you somebody will want to kill you and it'll change their mind, and all kinds of witchcraft stuff. But I never really thought that stuff worked, but I saw that it worked, but I just never used it. I was not interested in it. But a couple of my friends, when they had big drug cases, I know they would go in those places and they'll buy little herbs or a soap or a spray, and surely they got off, but you have to pay a price when you play around with the kingdom of darkness. You may live in one incident, but the next incident you might not get lucky. So I'm here tonight to just tell my story. This is my channel of hope, my channel of breakthrough, my channel of deliverance, to let people know that God is real, and every power that you should put your trust in, that power will fail you, but God power will never fail. I've seen it too many times. I've seen Him protect me from evil people, amen. And I just thank God tonight that I could share my story. I want to talk about a friend of mine. This is what there's some people you could call friends, some people you could call associates. And I had a lot of friends in 1987, and between 87 and 88, a lot of them died. And this one young man his name was Kirk. Very vicious. He was so, one time we was at a park, and And Kirk and his children mama got into it, and she was pregnant, and he was just kicking her in the stomach, just kicking her. She was vomiting and stuff, and I just went over there and told him, I said, man, she's pregnant, and he just didn't care. It's sad when you are at that age, you still a young man and at a life in front of you. But he never valued life. For most of the guys that I worked with back then, they didn't value life. It was all about money, girls, the fast life, the club life, the rope chains, the medallions, the four-finger rings. And so the guns, all that ran together. But Kirk, he was one of them that they call a shotter. And, you live by the gun, you die by the gun. And I never understood. I don't know of any friends that I had, maybe two out the bunch that survived, that I knew that, just was ready to shoot somebody at any time because they have changed their ways or whatever. But a lot of times you don't get an opportunity to change your ways. But Kirk, he just kind of took life for granted. He took life for a joke. And man, when we were in high school, I remember one day, I didn't know this, that Kirk had stabbed somebody. I can't remember if it was the first floor or the second floor. And he stabbed this dude from Linden Boulevard. Me and this guy, we was cool, but Kirk stabbed him. I didn't even know they had beef. So, I went to Andrew Jackson High School, which was probably the worst high school in Queens, New York. It was a high school where you see the boom bash crew outside. You would see the dudes from 40 Projects. You would see girls robbing other girls, guys getting their stuff taken. It was just amazing that they had a valedictorian. And if you graduated, it was just a blessing because everybody was either dropping out of school selling crack or just going out of state selling cocaine or crack and getting busted doing 20 years. Some was doing 25 years. And so it was some dangerous times then. And when Kirk stabbed this dude, because all the dudes from Linden knew that me and Kirk was tight. So I came to school one day and I did not know. And there was about 500 dudes from Murdoch, all the way from Murdoch and Springfield. There was dudes from Murdoch, Farmers, Linden, and Springfield was like coming together. I had like 500 dudes. I had dudes telling me, "Yo, there's a posse of dudes looking for you," and I'm like, I wonder why dudes is looking for me. And then he explained to me what happened, and it was like this beef in school, like all out beef. I kind of felt bad for dude because I didn't know that dude in Kirk got into it. Well, Kirk was one of them dudes that he just didn't care. And I remember I left, got up out of there, because I'm not trying to fight 500 dudes. Even though I had a reputation, it seemed like all the dudes that I knew, because they was crazy enough in the school to jump the football team. So if they even jumped the football team and just eradicated them, I'm like a buck and a half. You got dudes in high school that weigh 250. I'm not trying to square up with nobody. I know I could fight, but I can't fight 2 or 3 dudes that's bigger than me. But the wise thing was to do just to get up out of there. And so I got in touch with Kirk, and they got a little crew from Brooklyn, and they came down And after school, they didn't come to school, but I know when we decided we was not going to school. We just going, whatever happened, everybody, just who got baseball bats, who got guns, who got knives, it was ready. And Kirk had got him a machine gun. And I remember him standing outside the school with this other guy named Super. And two other dudes, and all these dudes had machine guns, and these dudes was big in the game. They didn't even go to high school or nothing. They was out of school, and it was going to be a major war outside this high school. And I believe that the other people, they recognized that, the gunplay was going to be that serious, and some people kind of backed away and be like, we're going to leave that alone until we catch them, one by one, or whatever the plan was. And that's how it was, the life that we lived. And Kirk was just that kind of person. He was the kind of person that's, one night we on the block, and I had no idea what was going on. We just on the block. We down there on, I believe it was Jamaica Avenue and 211th Street or something. Down on 99th Avenues. It was kind of like a little drug spot over there. It was like, it was pumping. And I went there one night and hang out with Kirk. Kirk was cool. He was like, yo, you could bring your package and, you could hustle, because me and him was cool like that. But I was out there and I noticed the station wagon creeping coming out. It was like wintertime, and it, you had to be zippered up real good. But something about me when I was out, whether I be in a nightclub, whether I be on Jamaica Avenue, whether I be at Kurt's Mall, whether I be at Green Acres Mall, any mall in New York that I be at, my eyes are already open. Nightclub, anywhere, my eyes are open, because anything could jump off. And when you got enemies, you always got to have your eyes open. So when I saw the station wagon creeping coming out, Kirk did not see it, because he was there trying to, talk to some girl or whatever. And something told me, don't take your eyes off that station wagon. But I noticed something stuck out the window. It just, I knew guns. And whatever was out of that window, it looked black and it had holes in it. And I said, that's a Tech 9. And I kind of tapped Kirk. And he took off running before me. He took off running. He was gone. And I ran too. And, you're just there waiting for gunshots to go off. But the guns didn't go off. So me and Kirk, we jumped over some fences, got in somebody's yard, and the dog started barking. I'm trying to tell the dog to shut up, because the dog is like telling them, oh yeah, they over here, so come and get him. And my heart beating real fast, because I don't know why. This is the game. I don't know if, something transpired before I got there, or if he had beef with somebody else, but whatever it was. And then Kirk kind of told me that he sold somebody an ounce of baking soda. Like, dude, you sold somebody an ounce of baking soda, and you just don't expect them to come back. And we kind of laughed at it then. I'm like, it was stupid, man. But then it's dangerous, because you live in that life. Because back then in New York, Dudes are not even taking shorts over 2 bags of weed, much less 700. I think it was 700 to 800 an ounce. That's not pocket change. For that kind of money, you could go on Jamaica Avenue and get you a fat rope. Or you could go to Superfly and get you some nice suits and some shoes. You go in the Coliseum and get you some couple Timbs and Nikes and all that good stuff, you know. Kirk didn't care. That was Kirk. I don't know what Kirk has done. Why every time I was with him, beef came. Seemed like beef followed him. So we up in the park one day, just chilling. I'm gonna get to where to come down to the witchcraft stuff and why I had to pull back, and I did not understand witchcraft and how being connected to witchcraft, how that really could complicate your life. So we at the park, the same park that Kirk has beat up his girl. We just there one day, just having fun. You know, we just talking. One of my homeboys, he was there just smoking his weed, and a couple other dudes. We was just there all chilling. And then we saw a gang of dudes coming down, but I never thought they were coming to check us or test. Actually, one of them went to junior high school with me. But I don't think he really knew me because I was not known in junior high, but he was one of them dudes in junior high that was known. I was not popular until like 10th grade. When I went to Andrew Jackson, you know, I was not popular, nobody, you know, I didn't get no respect or nothing. But it's like Rikers Island, you have to earn the respect. You got to take it because ain't nobody going to give it to you. So, we up in the park, and dudes just rushed down on us. Man, they came heavy too. They came heavy. And one of them, they was like, if anybody reach, blast him. And so, you know, how you gonna reach for something when you outnumbered, you outgunned? And so this one dude, I don't know where he from. He probably from Hempstead somewhere, because most of them dudes was from Hempstead, and maybe something, them and Kirk had some beef, because Kirk live on Hempstead, they live on Hempstead. I don't know, it might be over some drug deal that went bad, I don't know. But one of the dudes, he just start, while the other dudes had their guns out, he just start wailing on Kirk. I'm talking, you could hear the licks. And Kirk didn't fight back. I'm talking about dude snuffed him, knocked him to the ground, wailed on him. I'm like, wow, that's my man, and I can't do nothing. Outnumbered, outgunned. And you can't say, well, these dudes ain't gonna shoot you, because they came ready to shoot somebody. Whatever it is, I know Kirk, and I know he gonna retaliate. Not to be embarrassed in front of the whole entire park. That's not gonna happen. I know him. His lips were swollen, his eyes was like shut. He ain't said a word. I knew it was gonna get ugly. Because about that time, before Kirk had got into that beef, some other guy gave me something. I don't remember how much weed he gave me or whatever, but he gave me some weed. I think my mom's found it and flushed it. That's the second time my mom's found some weed and flushed it. And so the dude came to my mom's crib with like 20 dudes. They looking for me. They're gonna jump me and whatever. And I'm like, okay, what? That time I was not scared of no 20 dudes. I became more fearful when I got into church. But I lived without fear in the world. I think I changed when my son was born. And I thank God for that, because that kind of helped me to ease me out the streets. Because I had something to live for. And Kirk and the other homeboys, they used to say, you blah this and this woman got you tied up and blah this and blah that. But sometimes that's like a getaway. Get away from the madness, Get away from death. Because that's all I was facing was death. A dead man walking. So these dudes call themselves looking for me. So I went looking for dudes. If you come back to my mom's house, it's war. They never came back. They talked a whole lot of mess, but never came back. Don't bring the drama. That's the second dude that want to bring drama to my mom's crib. Don't bring it there. See me on the street, do what you want to do, but don't bring it. Don't get my parents involved. Think about that time my stepfather, a little Chinese restaurant around the way. My father used to stop there and get him some chicken wings and fried rice every day. Pops always had to stop there and get the half a chicken and fried rice. And he came home one day and face was all busted up. I was like, who did this to my pops? I overheard him telling my mom that he was at the Chinese restaurant and these goons ran up on him. My father's a Christian man. Don't mess with nobody. Holy man. Never cursed. Never raised his voice at my mom. The man was good as gold. The best Christian I ever seen. If anybody I know is a Christian, I know he was. He lived a life of holiness. I've never seen that kind of holiness in nobody. But when I saw his face like that, I said, okay. And he looked at me. And he knew what time it was, because I went and got 2 straps. And by the time he said my name, I was out the door. The time I got there, I already made up my mind. The first cat, anybody that I recognize out there, and if I'm asking questions and you can't answer, I'm blasting you. That's the mindset. You don't touch my parents. Some of us get the things screwed up when he said, touch not my anointed, or do my prophets no harm. God said, do not physically touch his anointed. Don't put your hands. You could put your mouth on God's man. But you touch his prophet, put your hand on his prophet, oh yeah, you in trouble. You don't cross the line now. That's what it means. Don't physically touch none of God's child. I was so mad when I went out there. Them dudes left. I don't know where they went to. I think they were from Hempstead. They couldn't have been from Queens Village, because they from Queens Village. They know what time it is. But they from Elmont, Hempstead, Springfield, and I catch them, it's on. But going back to Kirk now, after that stuff went down, I heard that Kirk firebombed dude's house. I think he made a cocktail bomb and threw in somebody's house and blew it up. I don't know if anybody got killed or whatever, but I know it started some kind of unnecessary vibe, you know? So around that season, there was a lot of youngins dying. Just a lot of people in our crew was dying. We were just sitting there saying, you know, you next and you next. You know, kind of just jokingly saying, because nobody took death seriously. You know, I had homeboys that put on their bulletproof vests and then, you know, have another homeboy shoot him in the chest and all this foolishness and madness. That bullet got eyes. But Kirk, life was coming to an end. Because I kind of pulled away, and I just kind of believe it was the Lord, because after that situation I had with the homicides and they tried to hit me up with that murder charge early in the summer, I had to lay low. I just lay low for a minute. And when I came back from Connecticut, that's when I ran back into Kirk, because I haven't seen him in a minute. So here it's going to get deep, because when I saw Kirk, he pulled out his wallet and he was showing me. He said, yo, I just got back from Jamaica and blah, blah, this. And this lady gave him some kind of protection and he took a bath and all this stuff. And, you know, a lot of people in the West Indies, they believe in that stuff, you know, that protecting, you know, you go to, you know, the witch doctor and he tells you what to do, and if you obey him, you live. But a lot of that is phony. Because the Bible said it's appointed for man to die, and then cometh the judgment. When the appointment comes, ain't no witch doctor could stop you from dying. Actually, he's helping you to die, because the more soul he gives to the devil, is the better his power gets. It's all about power, you know. If he's a real witch doctor anyway. A lot of them are fakes. So Kirk was showing me all this stuff, and I'm like, okay. You know, because you hear stories of people pulling out guns, shooting at people point blank, and the gun frees up, or, you know, the bullets miss him or whatever. And I believe Kirk believed, you know, he believed that would happen too for him. Maybe because he had a lot of near-death experiences. He was so happy, and most of the people before they die, they be so extremely happy. I never understood that. And he was asking me, you know, how was life treating me, and, you know, and all this. I said, life treating me good. I just kind of laying low from the streets. He probably still was wild and doing, you know, his thing. If they wasn't in the Bronx, they'd be in Brooklyn. Or they probably, you know, over on Hempstead, you know, at their local spot. But that was Kirk. Young Kirk, the gunslinger. So a day came when we was at the park. You know, I didn't go there too much, but it just so happened that God allowed me to be there that day for a reason unknown. And so Kirk came down to the park and he was just out of breath. Out of breath. And when I looked at his hands, dude's hand was all scraped up. He had a cut on his face. And this is what he told me and the other dudes that was out there. He said he was just walking from the Chinese restaurant. Some dude walked up to him and pointed a gun, pulled the trigger, and the gun just jammed. That was a hitman. Somebody was paid to kill Kirk. A lot of people were scared of him. Figured they got a hitman from out of town. And so he had this big gash on his hand. So because the gun jammed, the dude took the gun and tried to strike Kirk in the head with it. I believe that Kirk tried to block it. So that's when the scrape came from him. His hand, piece of his skin was dug in pretty bad. And kind of got hit in the face too. I don't think this person was trying to send a message to Kirk. This person wanted to kill him. So when he came down to the park, I remember I just held my head down and I was like, man, that's a close call. You need to go home and chill. That's what I was saying to me. You just need to go home and chill. You can't tell people like that to chill. And most of the voices around him was like, yo, go handle that. We're going to go up there. We're going to go back up there. Blah, blah, this. And just on fire for the nonsense. At one time, I would probably be like, yeah, go. Let's do this. That was my man. But I was being taught a lesson too. Maybe the magic worked temporary, because now that I'm looking back, maybe it did work. Whatever he was given, the guard ring, whatever she put in his wallet, he was showing me something that looked like a piece of leaf or whatever it was. I kind of looked at it and I'm like, wow, okay. But if you really believe that could stop you from dying, then more power to you. I want y'all to wait for part 2 of this, because I'm going to do part 2, and this is going to involve me telling the story of Kirk. So all the voices and all his cousins and, all the people that came down that was, yo, let's go back up there. You need to go back up there and do this and do that. I was trying to tell dude, don't you go back up there. So let that slide. Even if you're going to do something, just let it be another day. Hard-headed. So he jumps up there, getting his cousins. I think they had a tracker back then. It might be a tracker. And Kirk was sitting in the back seat, I believe. I can't remember if he was sitting in the back seat but I know a baby was in the car. And I don't even know why they went ahead and take a risk with a baby in the car. But going back up to where this dude just tried to kill him wasn't a smart thing to do. But whoever, they just knew that he was coming back. People know how you are. And the devil know how you are. He know you instincts, and they know the devices to use to set you up. And Kirk had not thought about the process. And when you can't process things properly, you're in danger. So they riding on the right side of Hempstead. He had just got hurt on the left side of Hempstead, where the Chinese restaurant at. So I don't know if they had got to the light to try to make a turn and come back around on the left side. But it was like a John F. Kennedy type hit. Because if somebody stayed up in a building, had to be a sharpshooter. And they just stopped busting. Nobody can't shoot that kind of shot unless they are trained, hired hitmen. You shoot in a moving vehicle. I think Kirk got shot 2 or 3 times. I can't remember, but I know one of the shots was a headshot. He said the tracker kind of lost control and ran up in a pole and whatever. I thought about that thing. I said, Lord, the man just had told me that he's under some type of protection. It wasn't a week later Kirk was dead. I walks up in Royal Gilmore Funeral Home on Linden Boulevard. I'm sitting there, and his mother whispered, "There go one of Kirk's friends." Yeah, I was really one of his friends, his true friends. I looked at his brothers. They were in mourning, not knowing that death was coming to them too. Sad. Whole family. Kirk was so young, 18. You could still see the bullet mark in his head. Can't cover that up. It was so sad. I tell this story to let people know that life has appointments, and how you live your life could speed up your appointment. You could speed up death. Death can be aggressive like cancer. If you go looking for it, it will come knocking at your door. I thank God for me surviving the storm. For me to live, to share with my son and my generation. Don't walk my path. Don't follow people that will lead you. Because when you die, you're the only one that's going in that ground. You're not going there with the posse and the homeboys and all the people that will influence you to do this and do that. Time out for that. I hope this word blessed you. I hope this message blessed somebody. That if you look back in your life, that you'll challenge somebody to walk the way of righteousness.